We interrupt your regularly scheduled granny with an important announcement. Time travel is cool. Ah! The controllers that work aren't. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So, I did skip this, and I wasn't sure if it was any different, because it is still the credits again, isn't it? But just to make sure that there isn't anything that we would miss permanently here, because I don't think you can access this again from anywhere else, so I guess we'll watch 2 sets of credits today. Double finale to this game. This is likely the last episode, since there's like one other thing to do. Also, you have a mouth. Like a 3D mouth, it looks like. That is unusual. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I can just like see a scene somewhere in this game world and I can know where it is. Is this a new song? I don't know why it would be. Why would you hold out on me until now? But yeah, I think it's just like seeing a bunch of artwork. But hey, artwork is cool. So, why not? Again, I wish you could have these images in their own right. They're actually rather pretty. Seriously. I really wish you could have had the maps, too, that we saw earlier. I wish you could have had those in gameplay, for that matter. But these are clearly videos. I don't think they're, like, panning over images in engine and then, like, superimposing text on top of that. I think, like, this is a singular video file that's just being streamed off the disc right now. I did briefly try to look at the interior of this game with its files and whatnot, but I couldn't really make anything out. Everything's kind of in archives and whatnot that I couldn't make out. There was one... which game was it? I think it was the first one, the original Whiskey. Namco label, why are you green? That's unusual. Okay, I guess we're green now. Did we have green lines before? I didn't notice if so. Anyways. Where's this song from? It's kind of random. It's just here. Never heard this song before, but here we are. Yeah, I know where this is. Like, I recognize that hotel who's... Oh, actually, I thought that was the hotel out on the water. No, that's the Yggdrasil. It has a name! And the wannabe Luxor. So, I recognize all these buildings. That's the cool part. It's just cool getting to look back and recognize all the buildings and whatnot. But I think the only song, or the only game I was able to make out any stuff from in the files was the first game, which I ripped and then put a bunch of clips from that game on YouTube. Namely I don't think I put any of the music online since it's music for other Namco games. It's weird how everyone has 3D mouse here. Hack Engine has given me a lot of fun. But all the chatter over the intercom I put on YouTube. Alright. So now we get to see that. That is being seen now. So, worry not, you didn't miss that now. I always keep save states from before the previous recording session. I think this might be the first time it really paid off, but mostly just in case like footage gets lost or something. Anyways, now you get to see what I've been doing for the past while, which is this. And Soul's still here. But for reference, we have 95,000 points. So we're almost at the end here. We can count down to the end. This will probably take about 5 jumps. You'll see if I can manage to do this right every time. Probably not, but I'll probably do it one of these 5 times correctly. You can get 1,000 points just about off of this one jump. People were saying that multiple people suggested using the stage to try to grind for points. I don't think that's really the best idea. I couldn't get any points from there. I tried. On the other hand, here, especially once you get the muscle memory down. And the game's controls are good for you. See, even not having landed that correctly, I got over 500 points. But you can get more than that, of course, if you actually land the tricks correctly. I think you just get a trick penalty or something if you don't actually land the tricks properly. Maybe you just get fewer bonus points? I'm actually not sure. Maybe it's If I had to guess, maybe you get no points if you fall flat on your face. You get some points, there's like less bonus or something like that if you land and lose your balance. I'm not sure. And you get more bonus if you actually land it correctly. But I think the key to getting lots of bonus points is doing lots of different tricks. You'll notice that every single trick I do here is different. Ugh! Stupid motion controls. That last one is not supposed to be a Cossack. That's supposed to be a twister. That was going perfectly. God, I ought to be able to get this before I hit 100,000 points. But you can, if you manage to do it correctly, you get about 1,000 points in one jump. Even if you don't, it's still like 600 or so. And it takes less than a minute to do one jump, so, and that's pretty fast compared to anything else that I've seen in this game. That twist was not supposed to happen. How did that happen? Hello? Okay, that went completely off the rails. The game just kind of stopped doing anything I was telling it to. I'll do it correctly one time. If the game hadn't done another Cossack right there, I would have gotten it the first, or I guess second time. I was able to do this semi-consistently at one point. After having done it for like half an hour. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that comes even close to how quickly you get points this way. And the massive... I always knew that getting massive amounts of bonus points was the way to go to get lots of points in one combo quickly. Darn it, game! I hate it when I keep trying to do a trick and nothing even happens. And then when I try it a second time, it does the wrong trick. And that was supposed to be a twister at the end. I'm deliberately doing the motion control tricks that I have an easier time doing. I can usually do a twister if I'm careful. Not always, though. Daffy I can hardly ever do. It's not one I don't do. Cossack is the one I'm most consistent with. And Spread Eagle is okay. Also notice I basically do these in descending amount of points that you get for them. Again, just doesn't do the trick all the times I want to do it. We're close to getting the 100,000 here, game. We need to make this work. Because I want to show this. I want to show off what it's like when you actually manage to do this perfectly. Because there is something notable about it. Something that caught me off guard. You actually managed to do, I guess you might say, perfect chain of tricks off of this jump. Ugh! God, this game! If it did a twister, that would have been good. Okay, well, hopefully I'll be able to do it this time. I give myself about 5 or maybe a couple more chances to do it. I thought I'd be able to get it surely in one of those, but I can't do the darn twisters for some reason. If I can get it this one time. Out of my way. God, every time. Every single time. Alright, you have something to say, game? Fun Master. Is that it? Figured we'd have like a credit sequence. Was that actually it? Huh. Thought the game would have something to say. Well, I'm still gonna show this if I can. Yeah, Silver Key just getting like special announcement from the tour guide is one thing. I figured that getting all the gold keys as in like actually fully 100%ing the game would also get some acknowledgement. Apparently not? That's weird. I'm a little disappointed. I was like bracing myself for excitement. Well, we can watch the credits a second time. In a minute, after I manage to pull this off. There we go! Okay, if you can count and add numbers, you might realize that does not add up to 999. Max combo for the skis, 999 points. Apparently that's the cap. That's more, that combo is worth more than 1,000 points, but it caps out at 999. I did not expect that. I still have never done tricks on a snowboard. Gold keys, 12 out of 12. I have one gold key to my name. I guess in a certain sense, there's one thing I haven't collected. One thing I haven't done. That's... Granny still doesn't have anything to dine with. We need to go fix that. But yeah. I figured the game would give us a nice opportunity to just kind of, say, hey, we're done. By being personally congratulated. But apparently not. That's a little disappointing. I like when games... I like it a lot for some reason when games give you just any kind of acknowledgement. Any at all. Even just a thanks for playing. For doing absolutely everything there is to do in the game. And as always, you end up on an old boring board at the end. It's just the backbone of this whole place. I'm so confused as to why. So there's a hurricane that gives you 45 points, sure. And it takes some time to do, of course, because it's the trick that gives you the most points. But then you also have corkscrew, and I believe it's rodeo. Yeah, that are some of the fastest trick. Well, they're as quick as any other trick. They give you way more points. Yeah, they give you twice as many points as spread eagle, for instance, but it seems just as fast. And more consistent to pull off? I don't really get that. It's strange to me that the game decided to assign trick point values like that. You'd think it would roughly have to do with like how many... I think there'd be some stronger connection, how long it takes to do something, as in how hard it is to pull off, and how many points you get. And also more generally, like the complications of the input, but the button ones are easier. I am enjoying it, I just thought you have something to say. I've done literally everything, except for ski school, I guess, and every other school, but that's something I don't think anyone actually wants to see me do, so I admit, in a certain sense, I haven't actually done everything in this game ever.
Hello there.
That's the one thing. But otherwise... Now Granny gets her ultimate reward. Just being back in comfortable clothes. Man, it would take so long to walk to any other villas in any other part of this place. Curious what this would be like if it was actually more populated, though. If you had more players with more villas around the whole thing. I hear it's kind of cool how empty it is in a certain sense because it's so tranquil, but at the same time, it'd be cool to have it populated.
Now let's see.
Now then, let's actually unlock the last thing. Dining. You may dine, Granny. Let us dine. Jeez. It's just these three things, too. That's stupid expensive. So you get fancy stuff, you get fruit stuff, and you get... like, cakes and whatnot. That's really worth a gold key? You're silly, game. Well, and yeah, I guess Granny didn't really need those. It was the journey that mattered. I don't know if there's a really good place to put that or anything. Like, we can see it here, so... Alright. Okay, well there's that. And I'll just let this episode keep on running because like we're just done with the game at this point, so it's just kind of an outro at this point. And having an episode that's just that would be kind of weird. Oh, you think so? Not anymore. Granny has moved beyond that. Granny has moved beyond everything. There's nothing more to do. So I admit, there's stuff to do in skull mode. I didn't think that would actually make the game load something. Was not my intention. So if you go... Oh, here. Huh. Here it doesn't even have the... Actually, wait. Just have the check marks here. That's weird. Huh. Okay, there you go. Okay, so it does have check marks here. Again, like, I don't know why the game even keeps track of it. I'm not doing that for every single vehicle. They go so slowly through all these and there's so much stuff. I might take a quick look at some of the ones that I hadn't looked at before just to see if there's anything that I didn't know about. The same way that I didn't know you could spray water on things on the jet ski. You can learn how to look, walk, and jump in every single resort for some reason. Oh yeah, I forgot that one. Again, there's no reason to do that, but it's there. Okay, you learn to jump at the very end. And skateboard is the same thing, as far as I can tell. I don't understand it's not necessarily that big of a deal on a skateboard. I mean, I know going switches is a thing in reality. That may or may not matter to you, but... Oh! You actually do a manual. This is more of a grab. Like, that's probably just doing whatever motion input, but... There's Flatland. Yeah, like, why not? If there's something I actually didn't recognize, I didn't realize was there, we can just see real quick.
Okay.
Granny, Christ. Never changed her clothes. Just hold Z. I don't need to see you. Granny can do it. Do you really like run out of... Oh, you can't do an ollie from here or anything like that. There was... I was curious why they put the kickflip and heel flip at the very end. Curious if there's something special about these as well.
Okay.
360 kickflip. Okay. Not quite, Granny. That's if so if you hold B as well, you do Christ air. Not what I wanted. B, right. Oh, up though. Wait. It says swing the remote nunchuck up on the top of the screen, and it shows it being swung down at the bottom. What's happening here? Explain this to me. I'm not that I can see what his inputs are. Oh! Okay, I get it. It's not in the air. Okay. See, little things like that I just didn't realize were here. That's cool. And not that it will have changed my life at all. And heel flip is just holding left and stuff. We're good. How to climb platforms. Huh. Yeah, you could have used that at some point. This one maybe I should have looked into. Maybe I should have at least looked briefly at each of these to make sure there's nothing I was missing. Like I'm doing now. So is this just a technique, or is it actually a thing that's built into the game? I thought he wasn't going to do anything until I pressed the button because he was so slow. Oh, yeah, you just level out if you hold down. That's interesting. It makes sense from a physical standpoint, like an actually skating standpoint, that you actually have to do kickflips from the ground. Because, of course, you use your feet to do it physically. Like, it's something it's a movement you start while still on the ground. But, well, usually in video games it's not incorporated that way. Usually you do an ollie first, or otherwise get some kind of air, and then you do whatever trick, even if that makes no sense physically. It's weird to see that incorporated this way in the game. What could I possibly not know about vehicles here? Let's find out. Walking. How do I walk? So you have to do that everywhere. Where'd you turn? Those are the same thing. I can't jump is still at the very end. Yeah, nothing on the skis. I imagine there's nothing fancy on here. Maybe there's a board press you can do. You could do presses back in Wii Ski and Snowboard on the skis. Yeah, this is all just the same stuff. Is it really right to call it an ollie? It's like you're actually like stamping down on one side of the board like you would on a skateboard. It's more like a physical jump. Yeah, nothing fancy here. There could be something to see on the snowmobile or snow tube, just out of curiosity. Nope. Yeah, it's nice being able to get around so much on this thing, but otherwise there's not much special to it felt like. Nope. And snow tube also felt pretty simplistic. Nope. Yeah, see, some of these are the same thing. They're so simple, the different things that you have to do in the tutorials. It just would not have been a nice use of time. You spend so much time going through text and whatnot. It's weirdly fine-grained. I'm happy it exists, but as far as I can tell, you're not required to do this for anything, and that's a good thing. Oh, this time you have to learn how to swim, too. Oh, looking is... oh, well, moving in this case. Yeah, looking is an advanced move on the horse. It's all the way down here. Now, all these I know how to do, I believe. Probably can't do much here. That one... this one gave me some trouble at first. Oh. Actually is called blacking out. I didn't realize that. I joked the granny seemed unconscious afterwards. If she hit the water real hard or something, but no, like... canonically, your character blacks out. That is amusing. Huh, well, that's all about. How old the wind messages. Fortunately, you don't get a catalog of all the red ones. And it's like all these locations. Different times a day. Amazing. Look at them all. I think these are all things that we actually did though ourselves. I believe we already have photos in all those spots. I know in either the original Wii Ski and Snowboard or the original Wii Ski or Wii Ski and Snowboard, there were a couple of photo spots that you could only access through the menu that were not actually in-game. I don't think that's the case here. Hi, Soul. We have so many photos, it just seems amusing to see. Oh, it's that dude. It's when we had that was Jack. With Pirate Granny. And Chibi. I appreciate these are going by really fast. These aren't in order, are they? We can't go through all of these because this is all a lot. I think this is in order, which is not a good idea. I was hoping they'd be scrambled, but yeah, we're not gonna have time to go through this whole adventure, but it is amusing just to see records from like the very beginning of all this. Skating and running down the road. Some of these photos looking back on them are kind of funny. Oh, amazing. Good job. Oh. You know how at one point, at one point in the video, I think it was, I said, hey, I figured out a way to get the game to run a bit faster. I think that's responsible for this. Oh well. Sad, but nice music though. Unfortunate, but yeah. Oh, that sucks. So many photos we didn't get to keep. Okay. Otherwise, can we at least go to the credits from here? I haven't gone back to this main menu in a long, long time. How's the instructional video work? Showing the instructional video. Is this like part of the game itself, or is it... Oh, I see. I've never seen this. I may want to, but I don't actually want to. So in my case, I have an actual separate physical motion plus that I connect to the controller. And this controller is, I think, about as old as the Wii itself. So it did not have that fancy stuff. Can you not actually watch the credits from here? Was that the only place you could see the credits? Hey. Dog. There's no like, there aren't really any options or anything like anywhere as far as I can tell. Kind of weird. Activity filter. Extreme competition. This is amusing. Popular. The ones I played. Yeah, you bet. Okay. Yes, Scuba most frequently played. I don't know how Margam Bell Life just had a lot of levels or something? I don't know. This one, because it had a lot of levels. Dance, not by choice. I'm amused by all the different categories they have, actually. So I believe I saw the minigames, though. Pretty sure. What's with the order here? Not sure where the order comes from. Well, normally I look at the credits, but we already watched the credits. And there wasn't a second credits, I'm sorry. We didn't get the double finale we were hoping for. I could have talked over the album if our photos weren't all black. Awkward. Oh well. Let's just spend... And I'll just talk about how what I think about this game and series, because I feel like I have to after all this time. After this playthrough of almost a year. I feel like I need to get more % off than that. I'll just run around and do whatever for however long. Until I'm satisfied. So, whew. It's uncanny. It's one of those things where it's uncanny being done with a game. Because I've spent, like I said, about a year playing this. This is, I think, the second longest game I've ever played on this channel. First longest being View Pinata. This one, I had no idea what I was getting into. Like, yeah, the Wii Ski and Wii Ski and Snowboard took some time to get through, but it was never anything like this. Come on, Charlotte. None of them had so much stuff in them like this. Like, I realized, like, there were different resorts where you could do different stuff and whatnot, but I figured each of them would be pretty small and not have much in them as a result. But, I was pretty wrong. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here. Not all equally distributed, like I mentioned, the scuba minigame, for instance, is crazy in terms of the amount of stuff that one minigame has. But even leaving that aside, there's just so much stuff in each place. I mean, there are a couple places where I thought Sun could have used a little bit more love, like buildings having like stuff on them or accessible entrances or whatever. Some things I wish you could do more with because they look so cool. Like, there are lots of really cool looking things here at the resort. Like, by the Yggdrasil here. In this area. Of course, this is right where it all began, too. This one little spot here. Bonk. I feel like this is dangerously shallow for how... high a dive that is. There we go, got my life raft. Amazing. I wish I could have done something with this because it looks so nice. And likewise for the area off to the side here, like, some of these things give the place life in the sense that they're there, but they're not lively in the sense that there's nothing actually in them or you can do with them. That's partway there. This game kept a lot of the magic, I think, of the older games, but not quite all of it. Especially in the mountains, where there were just lots of inaccessible buildings and whatnot. I still loved it. It still felt like each was like a place where I could learn my way around and stuff like that, and lots of different parts had names and things like that. Like, you notice I kept putting an effort to try to remember what the different parts of this beach were called, for instance, because I just like that sort of thing. Same way I did on the mountain in Wii Ski and Snowboard. And we have Sunshine Beach, we have Eternal, we have the Cove. Oh, is it something Cove? Darn it! Rocky Ridge Cove? And then we had the Lost Jungle? Or Jungle Ruins? Something like that, Lost Ruins. And Wild Hills Park. You see? Like, this is cool. I wish you could do something here. I like it here. They did, and there were, okay, the one place where they did put a lot of love that I didn't expect was the villa. Especially getting to have a couple of things like the space villa, which was really, really cool. And also, for some reason, I always getting to climb on top of the villas. And there were some odd things too, like, hi dog. We have dogs here. I enjoyed Chibi being here. I didn't expect Chibi to be here, and that's probably part of why I enjoyed Chibi being here. Like, it's just such a weird random thing. But it was fun. I enjoyed Chibi being here. And the strange things Chibi can do. And the recurring characters that would be in different places but wear different stuff in each one. Like Soul wearing something ridiculous everywhere he goes. That entertained me as well. All sorts of little things I loved. But there aren't any games... I at one point said, I think when I finished Wii Ski and Snowboard, maybe Wii Ski, that I just didn't know... I don't feel like there are many games like this, where it's just kind of... or in a certain sense, get to kind of run around and do whatever, and it feels like it makes kind of a world you can do stuff in. And doing stuff in the world is the focus, not just like having some story that happens to also be in that world or whatever. Like, there's a world here, a little shallow, but with some depth you might not expect as well. And that's what I had so much fun with. And all of the exploring plus the minigames are pretty okay generally. I like that. It was a lot more than I expected, and the production value of this was just through the roof compared to the previous games, which I didn't expect, because the previous games were nothing that remarkable in terms of like production quality. It's not something I'd expect most people to ever care about. This one, maybe those two games were successful more so than I realized, because I don't know, Wii Ski and Snowboard was released only a year after Wii Ski, and yet somehow, Akuchibi tries to avoid being jumped on. Somehow, they came up with the money to do this. Like, I know this is Namco, but like, they're pushing this console to its limits. I remind you, this game runs at 30 frames per second instead of 60 because there's so much stuff going on. And the visual fidelity is kind of surprising. Like, the Wii's not a powerful system, and yet they did a lot with it. Like, the render distance in this game is insane. Lots of places, too, where you get to be in some part of the resort, in some minigame or whatever, and there's acknowledgement of other parts of the resort being there, or even, I say other resort, like of the beach resort, for instance, or the city resort, but even other resorts on the island, where you can see that one from the other. The sense of connectivity throughout all of this, I enjoyed a lot. This game put a bit more into immersion than I would have expected, but that was exactly why I enjoyed. Some games get weirdly immersive in ways you don't expect sometimes. Something I liked a lot, I mean a lot, by Chibi, a lot with, of all things, Magic Pendulum. Because I felt like that's what sticks out to me about that game. Like, that little town, it's puny, but the little town that you spend your time in that game, that sticks out to me more than even the gameplay does, or the plot. I just remember the experience of going around talking to people in that town. There's stuff happening in that town as you progress through the story that has nothing to do with the story. You just keep talking to people and you hear about it. And it's like you get to check in, like, hey, you said you're gonna let those kids look at the telescope in your observatory tonight, or last night, at this point it is. How did that go? And they'll tell you how it went. Not that you actually explicitly ask, they just tell you if you keep talking to them every now and then. They're just cool. You can make a little bit of a connection to the people there. Here, you don't really have as much in the way of people, for the most part. You have Soul. And we have Chibi. But just have locations, at the very least. And little things I just never expected to see. Whew. And the fact that I just had Granny going through all the 3 games too was very fun. I came up with Granny on the spot as a joke, because I thought it would be fine to have a frail little old lady doing all the crazy skiing and Wii Ski and Snowboard, but then this happened. It's one of those things where you go down a rabbit hole based off of something that seems so innocent. Like, Wii Ski and Snowboard seemed like some random B title that nobody would have ever cared about on the Wii. It seems like for the most part it was, but then it was cool in its own right, and then 2, it led to this. Hey dude, having fun? Hi. Like little things, like you can wave to people. I don't think this guy's gonna... Yeah, see? You interact with people. It's not much. That's something. And the game keeps track of it for some reason. This game also gave you a lot more in the way of hints, and like, it was less arcane about how to complete the game than its predecessor was, which is a good thing. And depth in unexpected places, like the scuba diving. Like, that was cool. It's kind of funny how this game kind of ripped off lots of other games, some, in many cases, Namco games. And then things like Endless Ocean. But it was funny just like seeing Granny invade every game in existence as well. It's a weird smorgasbord of just everything that I found weirdly fun. Seeing something like this expanded just even a little bit more would be cool. But you don't see many games that are just kind of like, you don't see many games with this kind of premise where it's just go out and do whatever. And there's a massive checklist of things you can do on the whole, but there's not much in the way of like, you have to do this, you have to do this story thing. Like, these days I look into games mostly for stories and whatnot, because I have less time for games and whatnot. For that matter, I don't play them outside of this channel. So I'll just watch someone else play whatever, and at that point the gameplay doesn't matter too much. It's mostly about like narrative and whatnot. But here, it's a little bit the opposite. It's more about the world, and actually letting like narrative or anything like that take a backseat to that. I mean, there must be some games that have emphasis on world like that, but it seems like there's always... It's always a bit different. When I think of a game with emphasis on world, I think of like WRPGs, but those aren't the same thing as this. This is getting to explore and get to know a world and have fun in that world, but without some kind of urgent like story where you have to do things. It's also a pleasant place to explore. Like, I enjoyed the pleasant world of Magic Pendule, the little village in that game, more than I enjoy, say, like the barren wastes of, say, a Fallout game or whatever. I guess in a certain sense it's kind of utopian, you might call it. Just like a place to have fun, but I still want to have depth in that. Just a place to explore but have fun exploring. I don't know, it's not something you tend to see like a lot of effort put into it. I guess the thing is, to have a massive expansive world like this, it takes a heck of a lot of resources that most don't have. And since this isn't seemingly a super popular type of game, no one's putting in massive amounts of money into it. It's not a safe investment, I suppose.
Welcome.
Which saddens me a little bit. I would love to do more stuff like this on this channel. I like occasionally playing things I call like a relaxing thing. Sometimes they're supposed to be that way and they end up not being that. Like Kotorimpa was initially kind of that, or Kotorimpa. My second playthrough of Marvel's Saga Kotorimpa, where I played on hard mode, was initially that, just because like I had to keep calm and be patient to get through that game because of how difficult the hard mode was. By the end, it was more like excitement because it was like, hey, I'm actually managing to get through this whole game. I really didn't expect that. Yep. Quick walk. Also, can I walk up rails out of curiosity? Amazing. You go, Granny. You have to just walk around. Even that little change against the previous games was a big thing that I always wanted to do in those games. So certain things about this was kind of a dream come true for me because they gave me things. Whoops, they're not right. You guys need guardrails if there's not actually like a path down here. I thought there would be stairs. And this game let me do things I wish I always could do in the earlier games. I enjoyed it as an expansion. I liked how it was still true to the earlier games too, because you still had the snow resort and all that. And you didn't lose too much in the way of mechanics of the other games. Look how far you made it. Heck yeah. There's a story behind the city too.
Great.
I don't know if I ever encountered the dude. Cat. Hi, cat. Where are the fireworks? Where do the fireworks come from? Also, just like casual futurism in the city, which is kind of weird. I don't know where that came from. Like the VR and the floating stuff. Are you parked with the cat, Chibi, or are you just playing around? I don't know. In a certain sense, it might sound like I'm just rambling because it's a lot of like kind of idle, simple thoughts, but that's kind of the idea. It's a slightly idle and simple game I had a lot of fun with. I didn't have much frustration with this game. Some of the minigames were not the best, but they were brief enough you could get through them. Of course, some games I liked, I would kind of wish there was more to them, but some games had more stuff than I thought they should. Like a lot of the racing games had more courses than I wish they would. Don't you worry, Granny has done. Huh, Granny has done that. People skating around doing stuff. You also have brand names and whatnot. He just learned to recognize, which is funny to me. All sorts of little details like that. But that's the thing. It's a game where you can kind of just go and... You don't think too much, but there's still stuff to like kind of think about a little bit and enjoy. That sounds really expensive, like spatially. Where'd you guys go?
Never felt so much like home.
I think I lost him. Curious. That's like getting someone's way here. There's still things I don't know about this game and I want to know them. They can run into each other too, apparently. Okay, I did not expect that. And I've run into people while on my skates, so I don't know why I would be any different if I'm on foot. I didn't expect them to run into people, that was funny. Lots of the secrets you found in this game are pretty cool too, not all of them. I still don't know why this game had, of all things, just a secret. This thing. This was disappointing. That was an odd one. Huh. Only I can activate squares. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know what I do after this. I'm in the mood for playing something a little bit less long. Every now and then I like to play more relaxing things. UPI was another relaxing thing as well, and also very long. For the time being, I'd like to play something shorter. Maybe relaxing, maybe not. I don't know. I honestly have no idea what to play next, because I went so long without ever having to think about what other thing to play after this. At one point I wanted to play Ribbit, and I used up the licensed game slot for that, but other than that, like, I haven't had to think about a non-licensed game to play in a very long time. I'm gonna have to go back to my list, which I have not dusted off in a long time, of things to play. And we'll see. There's at least one thing I have, I guess two things I have planned to play later, but they'll be long. So, I want something shorter first. One or two shorter things first, and then a long thing maybe. I don't want to always be playing year-long things. Like, that's fun sometimes, but I like to get to... It's almost always fun for me playing a new game on this channel. People express interest in me playing a new thing. People seem kind of excited about it. And that's most often when I play something and I think to myself, man, I can't wait until I get to play that next week again. And this game was like that basically always. Lots of times I'll say that I think a game was fun, I enjoyed it a lot, even if it wasn't that great a game. I think this is also just legitimately a good game. Not a genre that I think most people are looking for, and it's a little juvenile maybe. But I think, while there's certain ways you had more depth in the snowboarding and skating in the first two games, this game I don't think lost too much of that, and you also get breadth. It's weird, you get both. I thought we'd suffer for the breadth that we have here and have less depth, but not too much. And I guess there was lots of simplistic aspects of a lot of the, what are you wearing? Everyone wears crazy stuff here. Lots of things were a bit simplistic in some of the vehicles, but even the times the simplicity was fun. Like in the inner tube, that was actually the fun part. That you couldn't really do anything, you just slid down the mountain. And yeah, is it a good or a bad thing that some things came back from the previous game, or games, here? I don't know. Like the UFO, I think of that as kind of a reference to the previous game. Or we're using a set piece like the bell over here. I don't know. But in a certain way, since I like that so much, I had so much fun with the earlier games, it's nice seeing something there from the other games. This game feels like a world. Lots of games don't do that. Lots of games feel like a game. And this game is a world that puts emphasis on being a world rather than just being a world that you do things in. Like usually even a game that has something like a world, I guess. Jeez, Chibi. Even games that try to be a world also have like story and whatever in that world. But here it's just like the world is the point. There aren't many games where the world is the point. That's another way of saying it. It's usually a vehicle for whatever. This is pretty. This game's just so pretty sometimes. That's just like one strip of stars. It's kind of weird. Oh, those are the same fireworks there are over the city that you see in the city, aren't they? That's really cool. So, little things like that I just didn't catch on to. It's still weird, that one band of stars. Huh. I think I found an idle animation. I didn't really notice there were idle animations in this game. Alright. And Chibi was fun too. We got to add to the cast a little bit. It's not just Granny now, it's Granny and Chibi. And maybe occasionally Soul. I guess this time Charlotte. You were in a silly hat too. You're the most normal looking person here. By far. Everyone else wears crazy stuff. I do think it's weird. The villa thing's weird to me. I don't know why they decided to make the ultimate reward for everything in this game stuff you can put in a house. Granted, well, I would have preferred the clothing I think they had in the first two games. Like, I am a person who can be satisfied with, like, clothing as rewards for things. And this game did give you a lot of clothing. I wish you got to have, like, vehicles as well, the same way they got skis and stocks and snowboards in the first two games. Those were a lot of the game's, like, comedy, so to speak, came from. The things you could unlock there. And even being able to unlock having no. It's weird, like leaves, or what were those? Floating around? Even not have any skis or snowboard, which is fine to me. Things like that. I wish you could have gone, like, even at least just different skins for, like, different things, you know, like different skates or different horses or whatever. Otherwise, that would be more work, but come on, look at the work they put into this. So it's weird to me. I don't know why it is that they ended up prioritizing things the way they did in this game. The villa is odd, because in the end, clothes I can take with me anywhere. That's part of it. Because cosmetic rewards to me matter because that's the thing that I'm seeing the whole time. I'm seeing constantly. It's a thing I can put on my player character, especially if it's a thing that has some kind of novelty. Like, I don't know, if like I can make myself look like some other character or whatever. Like, that can be fun. Pretend you're whoever else doing whatever else. Like, get a Kessler skin in one of the Infamous games, for instance. Then go to... What are you doing there, Charlotte? Then go up to that one guy who says you look just like Kessler, and you're like, yeah. Yeah, I do. Or whatever. Or just be Granny, wearing whatever silly thing. Or riding on whatever silly thing. But... in this game... But the villa, you don't get to take the villa with you. The villa is just in one spot. And the villa, I was still underwhelmed in some places. Like, there were still some things that were really cool. I like little details, like being able to sit on things. But, like, you can't make a good bathroom. Like, I couldn't figure out ways to fill the space. I recognize that you have the interactive toilet, which is nice, but you can't have, like, unless you want to have a massive bathroom also with open windows. It's hard to really have a bathroom. Like, I had to emulate one like this. But that entertains me. That you can interact with things here. The lights that don't really do anything. But it's there. I acknowledge it. It doesn't look cool like this. I like that they include, or at least try to include photos you take too. That's a really cool touch in all seriousness. But yeah, I just had so much trouble really getting invested in the whole villa thing, as much as the game seemed to want me to. I tried, and I humored it. I had fun with it for a bit. And the space villa is still awesome. But in the end, that's the one thing I find strange about this game that I'm not too convinced on. I don't know if there's been really any game except for maybe the Sonic Adventure games that managed to have some kind of side mode like that that actually worked. It was kind of sandboxish. And getting the rewards that I got for like the trophies and all that, that was cool. I came to put trophies of all sorts wherever. I don't know why I owned a snowman. Other than that, Like, this is cool being able to look at all the stuff I got, and knowing the actual meaning behind the diorama that I have here. And some of the details on the diorama too. Like, that's cool. I enjoy that. I wish I could look at it more often. Like, I'd prefer to, like, have a medal I can wear than just have a medal that's also the size of Granny's head. My god. These are all huge. They're the size of Granny. Granny's kind of small, though. These things, I just stick in one place and then I can look back at every now and then. But, I don't know, having any knowledge in it at all of having, like, done everything in a game, I enjoy a lot. As small as it is. Even if it's just thanks for playing. Which, I'm a little surprised in its little opportunity that they didn't have one for getting all the gold keys. But, oh well. Where are you, Chibi? We still saw credits today, so I won't complain too much. Whoa, where'd you come from? Chibi. Oh, Chibi, get in here. I'm not climbing through the window, Chibi. Come on, dude. There you are. Come on, Chibi. Come on. Oh. Chibi. There we go. Little things like that. And skipping. Chibi, that's not how you do that. Here. Over here, Chibi. Eh. Right. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Amazing. Thank you, Chibi. Come on, Chibi. I don't know why you have the Z button to walk, because you can just walk using the analog stick. It's analog. You don't have to push it at full intensity. Come on, Chibi, up here. I know you can get up here, Chibi. Come on. What are you doing? The stairs are too steep. You tend to fall as you go up them. The pathfinding for the dogs isn't always the best. Chibi. Yeah, I know, Chibi. Come on. And the dogs being helpful in finding secrets is also nice, because that's kind of like a hint mode you can kind of turn on and off by having a dog with you or not. Also made the dogs actually matter in terms of whether they were here or not with you. They actually did something other than just like running around with you like all other people did. And other people could also participate in minigames, which you didn't usually see. Except for the one time with Soul. But still. Come on, Chibi. Pretty might as well. Does that also call up your friends? I guess so. Alright, but that's all of that. I think I've gotten to say most of what I wanted to say with this game. And series. Like, it was weird. It was weird and also even uncanny seeing what this series turned into. Like, I didn't expect it to turn into this. Maybe it worked out. Maybe the first 2 games worked pretty well if they managed to justify putting this much work into this one game. Or maybe someone just, I don't know, felt really enthusiastic about it. I don't know. But in my mind, it's a weird kind of hidden gem. Not the kind of gameplay that I think most people want, but one that I enjoyed a lot. That I don't know if I'd be able to find much else of anywhere else. And I did ask at one point if anyone else knew of other games like this, and they basically said, go vacation, and I have no idea what else. Maybe I'll find something else like this someday, maybe not, I don't know. But we can look for more, so to speak, relaxing things to play at some point. But until then, I have to figure out what else to play next. I have no idea. I'll come up with something. Otherwise... Good night, Chibi. And good night, Granny. This was a long, long adventure. How many years did this even last? Like, from start of Wii Ski and Snowboard to this game? I don't know. Feels like kind of an end of an era. Kind of like when the end of the year of Hot Wheels came. I enjoyed all the engagement from viewers too. It's weird. I tend to have one series that's licensed where I get lots of like views, but little in the way of like engagement. And then I have another series where I get fewer views, but more engagement, like this one, Review of Pinata. It's interesting how it splits up that way. I enjoy this, where people seem more engaged and they take an interest in how things are unwrapping. And they help me out sometimes when I need it. It's because sometimes I need it. Thank you for the help with the photos in some cases too. And everything else. There are a few things I need help with at a few points in this whole adventure, because there was a lot of stuff to do. But I think Granny has had quite a lot of time. To imagine this was supposed to be Granny's retirement. Anything but. It was the opposite. But she needs rest now. I think she's earned it. We've hit an hour, so I think it's time. Thanks everyone for all this very long, excellent adventure. I'll see you next time when we do. Who knows? The adventure continues. Bye everyone. Bye Granny. Bye GB.